The City of Jackson Department of Engineering, Troy White. Hi, Troy.
Hey Bart, thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you back. Before the show, we were talking a little bit about the construction season. The 4th of July, it tends to be like the halfway mark.
Yeah, we were just talking about, you said, boy, you guys got a lot done. I said, well, believe it or not, it feels like we're about halfway through, If we get started in, April, early April, late March, and go to 4th of July, we're almost halfway through. And it always, it's not official, but it always kind of works out. It's like projects try to get done by 4th of July so new projects can start after 4th of July. I think just that long weekend, usually the workers have been working all their overtime and they're ready for a long weekend. So, it's like it's kind of a nice spot to finish stuff up and then start new stuff.
Until today, really, we didn't have much in the way of bad weather.
No, we've had excellent construction weather. I mean, the only thing we haven't been able to do is grow grass.
Yeah.
But the weather hasn't impacted our progress at all. So it's been good in that respect.
All right. Well, growing grass is the last part of any project, so I guess it'll eventually grow.
Eventually, we send out notices and ask people, please water your grass. Mm-hmm. If you don't water it, it probably won't grow. And people call, well, I don't want to water my grass. Well, that's okay, it's your grass.
If the city the city gives you a new curb and a new lawn, well, now do your part.
Yeah, it'll come in the fall. I mean, it's just delayed and it doesn't come in as lush, but eventually it gets there.
Do you have people that ever say, "Oh, gee, I had bent grass, bluegrass here on my lawn. I went there."
Not very often. We had one guy 2 years ago, and he had beautiful landscaping, and he said, "You know what? Why don't you guys not plant grass seed? I'll have my guys plant grass seed." And we're able to work with him on that,
Nice.
I mean, obviously, the grass that our contractors put down, it meets all the specs. But it's made to grow grass and to stabilize the soil. If you want really nice stuff or you got something special, we'll work with you. But you're going to have to do the special work. We're not able to do that. You won't be satisfied. So, but I can only think of once when that's come up, and it worked out well.
Interesting. All
Yeah.
right. So easy solution.
Yes.
All right, today we're going to look at 3 of the projects that are underway. We'll start at Perrine Street.
Perrine Street, yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of those streets where a lot of people have a hard time pronouncing it, but it's Perrine.
Perrine.
It's one of our local streets. It's one of those where we replaced the water main and the sewer, and really we're at the end of last week that got paved, and really all we've got left to do now is raise the lids of the manholes. Manholes and water valves up so that they match the top of the new pavement.
Was that a manhole cutter, that thing?
Yeah, it's like a great big cookie cutter. It cuts a hole in the asphalt, and then you can raise the top of the manhole up. And I think if you drive around town, probably for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been doing it that way, requiring it that way, and you end up having a little concrete donut around the outside of it. But it makes it so if you do it after you pave, we used to do it before you pave, and we usually get the manholes mostly right, but there'd still be little bumps there. If you do it this way after you pave, you get, it's perfectly smooth, so that's a good thing.
Nice. And that's happening right there in that picture.
Right. I mean, unfortunately, you don't get to see the final product, but if you drive around town, you see the manhole covers with a concrete ring around it. That's from that process right there.
Now, at that intersection on East Michigan Avenue, MDOT was doing some work that is not this project, but it's just adjacent to your project, right?
No, actually, we did that. That was our work. Yeah, that was ours. On Perrine Street, we replaced the water main and the sewer. It actually had old brick sewer under it.
Oh, okay.
And we needed to tie into the sewer main on Michigan Ave and the water main on Michigan Ave. So, that was part of the city's project to get that out of there.
And really, it wasn't as disruptive as I thought it was going to be. In another project, which we weren't planning on talking about because it was an emergency that just came up, Page and Elm.
Right.
It looks like people are getting through that intersection or around that intersection okay.
Basically, down there at Page and Elm, it was kind of an emergency situation. We had a sewer that had some holes in it. Well, first of all, we got to keep the sewer flowing. It's public health concern. Yeah. And then second of all, when that sewer breaks and soil washes into it, it creates a void under the pavement. So I think somebody got called, hey, we got a pothole out here, and they went to check out the pothole and look down there, and it was about 4 feet deep and it was wider than they could see. So it's like we closed the road down right away.
It happened just like that.
Yep. You can't have I mean, you got to keep the sewer flowing, and you got to make sure that everyone driving on that road is safe. So we just shut it down and got a contractor the next day and get it worked on. But when you got those situations, you still want to work with traffic and make it as convenient as possible, but really, public safety is always going to trump everything.
All right, next we'll go to Brown Street, which is getting new surface and new sidewalk.
Well, it got a new the mixed-use path, mixed-use trail along the city side of the street, and that work is mostly done. The surface of the street's been milled; it's ready to be paved. The biggest problem we've got out there is coordinating with our utility partners, Comcast, and AT&T. Consumers did do some gas main work. They replaced gas main and put that on the township side of the street. And so consumers is out of the way, but we've still got telephone poles right in the middle of the trail that we're waiting to get out of there.
Oh, geez.
Oh, and I shouldn't say telephone poles, utility poles.
Oh, we still call them telephone
We
poles.
still call them that. But we've decided we are going to proceed with the paving, and we're not going to wait for the utilities anymore. The feedback we're getting is that they got to get it on their scheduling. It's going to be a while, so we're just going to get that road paved. Unfortunately, it probably won't be till after the 4th of July before it happens, but we can't wait any longer. I mean, the traffic's been restricted for so long. It's okay to restrict traffic if we're making progress, but if they got nothing to show for it, then we got to do something different.
No, and I think AT&T is working at a different pace than you are. If you see what they're doing on Greenwood and High Street, it's like, what are you doing?
Well, they're getting it done. I mean, I'm not gonna talk bad about it. I mean, there's a number of stages to their construction.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Now, at least you're not like the Spirit Trail around Clark Lake. It's like if there was something in the way, they just went around it. It's pretty windy.
I guess I've never seen it.
So if there's a tree there, it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just go around it. But you don't want to do that with a utility pole.
No. Well, and in this case, that utility pole is right in the middle of the thing. So we'll get to it eventually, but it's going to be a little while. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It'll be nice when it's done.
Yeah.
Yes. Now to Stewart Street near the railroad, at the railroad.
Well, it's actually at the railroad. And this has been ongoing forever, but we're finally getting it done. We're putting new water main under the railroad, and it's got to be jacked into place because we got to keep the railroad has to stay open. We have to have all
can't
our
take the tracks up.
Nope, can't. And you can't. You got to keep the trains running. So we're actually jacking into place. We tried to start on this project earlier this spring, and we ran into some subsurface conditions that we weren't expecting. Basically, rocks. They were pulling rocks out of there like this.
Wow.
While we did soil borings, they didn't really show up. Probably the borings went past them, pushed them aside. So we had to shut down in the spring and then wait for a bigger, more expensive, stronger machine come in. The machine that came in, actually, instead of cutting through the rocks, it actually just, it's called a rock hammer. And it just basically breaks up the rock and gets us under there. So at this point, we finally got that pipe, the steel casing pipe under the railroad. And at this point, the contractor's working on running new water main through the pipe. And the other thing is when we get done with the water main work, we'll be able to repave that crossing. I don't know if you remember if you go through very often, but that crossing was horrendous.
Yeah.
Rough. It was pretty bad shape. So it's been a long time coming, but when we do get it done, at least we'll have a nice crossing there, in terms of a smoother street.
It will be. I'm going to submit it to Engineering Marvels. Now, one engineering marvel is the reopening of I-95 in Pennsylvania, where that tanker truck caught fire under the overpass.
I've seen that.
They rebuilt the bridge temporarily in 2 weeks. It's unbelievable.
I haven't been following it a whole lot. My understanding is I think they just filled it.
They did.
There's no bridge now.
There's no underpass.
Right.
No. They filled it with some sort of recycled glass material, put up retaining walls, and now 2 weeks.
That's amazing. You probably got a group of people together and just let's throw out some crazy ideas and which one is going to work best,
And that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, sometimes. I mean, things like that, you'd like to have a long, probably if it would probably take years to do that if you weren't in an emergency situation. You got to do a study. You got to do this. You got to, what about real estate? What about this? So it is fascinating what can happen when it has to happen.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. All right. Well, continue good work, good luck, and keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me. This was good.
You bet. Our City of Engineering Department busy at work on all kinds of projects. Thanks to Troy White. Up next.